it's not your job to turn yourself in.
This man committed an armed robbery. Police did arrest him, but they forgot to put him in jail and came back for him 13 years later. Get ready, because this is the crazy story of the criminal the police forgot to put in jail, Mike Anderson. Mike's curious case started when he robbed a man at gunpoint. He managed to escape with the victim's money, but eyewitnesses were able to take note of his license plate. Shortly after, cops arrested him. He was found guilty of armed robbery and was sentenced to 13 years in prison. And so, Mike embraced the twist of fate that he would no longer be a free man because of his actions. He waited for police to come get him. But as you already know, the police never came. Days turned to weeks, and no one came for Mike. Confused, he even sent a letter to the court telling them his status.
He notified the court several times that he was out on bail. Even after he lost his appeals, he filed a document with the court, said in the first paragraph on the first page, "I am not in custody," and gave his home address.
This was Mike's first ever encounter with the law. And since he didn't know anything about the process, he relied on his public attorney to decide what to do next. At one point, he wanted to turn himself in, but
The thought crossed my mind, but once someone tells you, it's not your job to turn yourself in, it's their job, to come and get you, it's like, hey, well, I'm gonna enjoy every moment that I can.
What Mike didn't know was that he was waiting for nothing.
Cornelius Mike Anderson initially stayed out of prison because of a clerical error.
The plot twist? The police somehow managed to ignore all of the signs telling them that Mike was free, including the very letter that came from Mike himself. They were convinced that Mike was already in prison for 13 whole years. This error meant that a convict was roaming the streets, all thanks to unbelievable mistake. But while Mike waited for them all those years, he decided to make his own plot twist.
Got married, had kids, coached my son's little league football.
Mike reflected on his actions and decided that he will turn his life around. Jail or no jail, he mastered carpentry, he bought a home, he married his girlfriend and raised 4 kids. He even started his own construction company. And he did all of this in plain sight.
I never felt like a fugitive, because a fugitive is someone that's running from the law. I never ran from law, I was there.
Whether he was coaching his children's football team or volunteering at his local church, Mike never hid his identity.
He hasn't been in trouble since that crime he committed in 1999.
He became the exact opposite of what he was when he committed his first and only crime. He became an idolized, respected, and loved member of his community until finally...
Streets were blocked off, they had on the gear, they had helmets, they had full riot gear, shields, AR-15s, everything.
The police finally realized their mistake on the very day when he was supposed to be released from the jail. They raided his home and forced him out of his family's arms, who knew nothing about his past because he kept it a secret from them.
It's just very hard. And I miss my husband very, very much. My kids miss their father.
Mike was finally arrested and was told to serve the 13-year sentence in full. And you won't believe what happened next. Voices all around his community started to speak. This man has done what jail could never do to him. He is not a danger to society. We are much better off with a productive member of society than with another inmate. Many comments like this. Thousands of people petitioned for Mike's freedom, with everyone agreeing that Mike reformed himself outside of jail and that keeping him imprisoned is cruel and unfair. And perhaps the biggest support Mike got was from the very person he robbed 13 years ago.
It's about time to let the guy go home. What the state did was their screw up, okay? not his. It was their fault. So, I mean, it's like they're going to try and penalize him for another 13 years? That don't seem right.
His attorney didn't stop appealing his case, and after almost a year of being in prison, with tens of thousands of his friends behind his back, Mike stood in front of the judge.
And he said, although you have turned your life around, you did something that the criminal justice system couldn't do for you. You rehabilitated yourself. And he says, I'm releasing you.
Mike, once and for all, was free.
It was one of my happiest days in my life.
The judge left him with these words that brought tears to his eyes. You've been a good father. You've been a good husband. You've been a good tax-paying citizen of the state of Missouri. That leads me to believe that you are a good man and a changed man. Good luck to you. It's been quite a long time since I last said it, but I want to repeat it. Bad past doesn't mean bad future. Most definitely, we can all relate to making mistakes in the past. And from those mistakes, we discover the consequences of our actions. We realize that we lie to people. We cheat on people. We hurt people. And these realizations, they hurt us too. So, we remind ourselves to never do it again. May the story of Mike Anderson remind us that anyone, no matter how bad their past was, can turn their lives around.